Good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Wednesday. All right, my phone is already on top of it tonight. Hopefully, my volume is down. Hope everyone's having a great week. People got 3-day weekends this weekend, things like that. We're going to get started pretty quickly here. I don't know if we're going to go the full hour. I've had a little bit of a headache today, and I think we're just going to start right away. I got a whole bunch of stuff off to the side. Stamps, dies, all sorts of things, but I thought we'd start with what I kind of planned on. I have kind of an idea, but I haven't put it together yet. So I have the Safari stripes and the Safari spots 4x4 stencils. I'm going to go ahead and hi Gina, how are you? I'm going to go ahead and put some more, there is some pixie spray on this, but because I'm using glazes, I want to use some extra spray. So I'm going to spray that quick off camera. If you hear my dog barking, he's outside. It's nice out. We've got the windows open. So I've got a 4x4 piece of craft or paper here cut down. I thought I'd show you how, I already did one up ahead of time, but it's kind of nice to see how people do these on their own. So, are you getting excited, Gina? The countdown's on, right? I got my airline tickets today, so I'm getting excited. All right, so we got that. And I'm just gonna grab, this is just a Nouveau silicone, and I've got the Chroma Glaze and Black Pearl. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that because, you know, zebras have black stripes. I know, I can't wait to. It's going to be fun. So I was really excited. I was kind of playing around with the tickets and I ended up saving some money going through a different website for the same tickets I was going to buy. So that's after. And hi, Mama. You're watching me instead of your other show. Actually, I know you probably have your other show on the television, Mom. So I'm just spreading it down. When I do glazes, I try to do one direction. I don't like to go with directions. Now with this stencil, there are a few like pointy spots that I made sure I stuck down really well. They go in both directions that don't connect all the way. So you could go the other way, but I try not to, if I'm going to do it, just go back and forth. I don't want to go this way at all because then I tend to find I can accidentally get bleeding underneath. So we're just going to go ahead and pull this down, pull some of the extra off. We're going to put this one aside to dry. Let me grab some baby wipes. And get that cleaned off. The nice thing about using like a silicone spatula like this is that it will, if you do let things dry on it, it will tend to scrape off. I haven't really done that, but I've heard that. I try to wipe it off right away. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and wipe off my desktop here. Throw that over the way. And then I'm gonna go ahead and peel this and let's look at it. We got a little bit, and see how I've got, it didn't come, because that's where those points are from the other direction. So I'm just trying to be very careful and peel that off. So I got a little bit of overlap right there, but that's fine. So we'll put this aside to dry. And I have a warm bucket of water on the floor here with some Dawn dish soap. And I just threw my stencil inside there. That's what I like to do when I'm live or if I'm creating multiple pieces. And then through the magic of yesterday, this is what it looks like. So I did this one last night. I figured we'd make a card. I also did one with the spots on a gold metallic paper. That was in my stash. So it kind of represents the spotted leopard. So let's get this cut down a little bit. I want to cut off the edges. My paper was just a little big. haven't decided exactly what my card's going to look like, other than I know I was going to use this and the stencil. I love it too, Gina. I wish I had Monday. I can't wait to just play this weekend. You know, having the day off. I mean, I'm going to craft most of the weekend. I think I have a graduation party to go to on, I'm going to go ahead and cut it down all the way to the stripe edges. I have a graduation party to go to on Saturday. But that's just here in town. And ooh, that one, my trimmer is needing some attention. Got a loose screw. That works for me. Actually, we need to go down just a little bit more. So I want to get them cut down right away, because then we can go ahead and play. I grabbed a piece of the pattern paper from the Safari paper pad, but I'm not sure if it's going to be too busy for me. I'm not a pattern on pattern type girl. I like what I see them, but I don't have the knack for always attaching them together. But we may still do that. But no, I am ready to just play with some of this, play with the inspiration box for next month. I'm really excited to do some more with that. I have a great idea that I want to do with some of it. I haven't had a chance to execute that. So, okay, so this is the paper pad from the Summer Safari, and I haven't used a ton of it yet. I haven't decided. I love like this pattern. I want to just use this by itself, and this one, and I don't want to do anything else with them because I just think they're fun. I'd like to make I think I'm going to make a set of cards with those. But I pulled this one, and it is quite busy with the stripes. I've got, and the spots, either one. But I felt like they pulled the colors in, so that we could maybe use a little bit of it. But let's get a card panel out here and start playing. So I just have this as an A2 card panel. I like to put things on card panels first and then put them on a card base. Or if I end up just putting things on a card panel or two for samples, sometimes they don't need to be on a full card base for me always, so if they're a sample. So we've got that, and we've got this. So that would be fun just like itself, but I think we're gonna go, ahead and mat this on some black. Let me grab a piece of black cardstock here. It's scarce, it's way up high, I can't quite see it. That's not the piece I want. Okay, so I just have some card. This is just 110 cardstock. Just a generic that I had. I didn't really like how they made for card bases, so I'm going to go ahead and cut them down. I want to add some depth to this, so it's a 4x4 stencil, but I cut it down a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and do 4x4. See what we think. This is my way I craft a lot, is I just start, chat has moved. Okay, there we go. I just start kind of playing. So see how it's a little too wide. So I'm going to need to cut it down a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh, because that's not 4 inches. That's why. All right. So we've got that. I'm liking that a little bit. I'm going to put that on a angle. See, I may go totally completely rogue and do something completely different. I think I am thinking about this type of a completely wild just card. I think it's fun to just play. So let's get this stuff attached and then we'll grab some stamps. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but that's the beauty of paper crafting, right? And then sometimes as I'm crafting, I come up, as I'm working, I'm like, oh, this would be really neat, and I can completely stop what I'm doing and re-switch it around. So, no, I can't wait for Create Your Own Ending. I am super excited. I'm super excited to get our samples in, start creating. It's going to be fun. There's only a few spots left, in person and virtual. You know, so you can craft from your own home. There's a Facebook group you can join, and once you have registered, that will have all the videos in it, and you'll be able to see those videos afterwards. And I will be typing up project sheets too to go along with all the projects, make and takes, and classes. So I hope that, and I'll put them in. I believe I should have them ahead of time, and if I don't, I will have them up within a week of class. But I also will, as if they are done ahead of time, if there's some changes made, I will make the changes and put those changes on. So I'm going to go ahead and post this. I'm not going to do like super, I mean I should, because it's just kind of try to put it on as center as I can. So I'll try to use that dotted line. Excuse my head if it gets in the way. Try to put my points on the dotted line. All right, so we've got our zebra stripes. I like that. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm not gonna use my trimmer, I'm gonna use my scissors. Trim off the sides here. There's some at the top that need to be trimmed off the bottom. And we got a nice base to start. All right, so we've got that. We can also do this with the leopard print one, but I won't worry about, we'll do that one later. Let's see what time it is. All right, so I've got my base. Now we can go long, we can go portrait, which is what I'm thinking. I like that portrait wise. You need to grab some stamps. I grabbed the Wild Lines stamp set, and I have just a piece of scratch paper, and I've got the zebra stamp in there already. And I thought it would be fun to just stamp this out in some Raven Detail ink in a few different spots. Ooh, I recently ringed my pads up, so I pushed it in quite hard there in the one spot, so hopefully. Stamp it down twice. That's the beauty of the Misty. I'm actually thinking, let's see, let's pull that off. I think we're going to stamp down a couple of them, so I'll wet this off quick. I find sometimes if I plan what I'm doing ahead of time, it doesn't go quite as right, so it really depends on the card. If it's going to be super intricate and lots of work details, then yeah, I might go ahead and do it ahead of time. But if it's just, you know, lots of stamping and cutting, then I kind of just go by the seat of my pants here. All right, that one's stamped down a little bit darker. I'm going to see if I can get one more on here. They're not going to be perfectly aligned around from each other, spaced from each other, but I think that'll be close enough. This is a fun set to have because you can make baby cards with these. You can make masculine cards. You can make birthday cards. Oh, that one moved. So we're not going to use that one. We're going to cut it down. I moved my stamp. And that does happen sometimes. So I wasn't sure about thinking about putting them just across the front, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and we're just going to die cut this out. So I have some circle dies here. These are the foundation dies. Looks like this little guy's going to work the best. I'll trim him down. Sorry, guy, cutting you off. We'll go ahead and put him down and get him in on our... Oh, there's a beautiful breeze coming in. It's getting quite warm today, and I see next week down here in Iowa, we're going to have 90s. I'm not looking forward to that. 75, 76 is about as perfect temperature as I would like to go. But the breeze coming in right now is just heavenly. And I say that because I live in the Mississippi River Valley, and so at certain times of year, we don't get any breeze. It just, because of the bluffs. and it's just stagnant air and it doesn't move towards the middle and end of summer. So we've got our little, I kind of really liking how this is going. I'm thinking what we're going to do is we're going to stamp a sentiment on here and we're going to call this one good, and maybe we'll move on to the next one because I have another idea. So we have, for sentiments here, wild and free, thanks you're a beast, live your wildest dreams, party animal. Oops, that is not the right one. I was looking for the wild and free set. Those are a little too big, I think, for what I want. So we're going to put those aside. And then the safari stamp set also has a few. So you could use these zebras in the same exact configuration right there, and that would be perfect. You could stamp one of these. It'd be perfect on a square, matted on some cardstock. But I wanted to use the wild lines, so I think we're going to do live your wildest dreams. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my Misty, mini Misty again. Get my stamp out of there. This is where I tend to lose stamps, is because I kind of toss them off to the side during a live, and then I'm like, where did I put it? All right, so we're gonna put that there. I think I'm trying to decide. I am gonna go straight with it, I think. And I'm gonna go ahead and stamp this out. Live your wildest dreams. Now when I stamp down my sentiments, I try not to push too hard. I try to push gently, so that, because sometimes when I push down too much, you push the stamp down really hard and it could squish out the ink, especially if you oversaturate your stamp, which I tend to do. All right, so we've got that. Let's pull that stamp off. And we are almost done with this card, which I am really liking. Like I said, you could do a whole set with these because there's all sorts of the different animal, you know, different things. So we've got this. I'm thinking, where do we want to put him? I'm thinking I might need to cut down some black cardstock. And do I want to mat him on some cardstock? I don't know. You know what? I think we're going to change our mind here. I'm going to go ahead and cut down a circle. I want to see, I have another set of dies here that cut 2 different sizes. I think I'm going to cut this one down. Just a nested side. I'm going to cut this down out of black, but I'm going to cut it out first because, and I'm going to cut it out of the center so that if I decide to use this as a mat, I can use that. That's an old trick that I like to use, is cut from the center so that you can use it. All right, so now I can see I can use this as a mat for this piece. And no one's ever going to be the wiser that there's a piece cut out of that. All right, so we've got this, and we're going to go backwards. Cut this out of white. I'm just going to flip this over and cut the back side. So I told you, on the fly sometimes. But we are going to use that pattern paper. But I'm going to do something a little different, I think, with it. See if it works. Okay, so we've got this piece and that piece. And we're going to go ahead and mat it. See, I think that's the backwards versus the white. I kind of like that. But I haven't decided if I'm going to mat it or if I'm just going to use this. We're going to go ahead and stamp that zebra in white. And because white tends to smear, because it takes a little longer to dry, we're going to heat set it. So I'm going to go ahead and put some anti-static powder tool on there. I've got my pink ink, my alabaster white ink. I'm going to grab our stamp back here. Center him on here best we can. I'm kind of doing upside down. I like this idea. I'm going to go ahead and lightly, lightly, lightly just tap, because he's got all those delicate lines. Okay, gonna tap a little bit longer than that, a little bit deeper than that. But that's part of, like I said, using a MISTI. Do it a few times. Get his belly down here a little bit more. My ink pad is very juicy. Like I said, I re-inked these. I haven't used my pigment one since I've re-inked it. All right, his ear up here, there we go. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and take this out. I'm gonna wipe that off so it doesn't get all over my mat here. And cover it with, excuse the train that's coming through. Actually, I'm just gonna grab, this is Alabaster Sparkle, that'll work. We'll add a little sparkle to it. And we're just gonna dip it in. And grab a dry paintbrush and brush a little bit off the edges here where I don't need it. And we'll heat set this quick. And I have a paper clip to hold it so I don't burn my fingers, since this is such a small piece. Oh, a little bit of that. Let's heat set this. What is everybody's favorite zoo animal? I'm not sure. Mine is the panda. So I'm just heat setting it. I'm just putting it on my arm a little bit till it gets really hot, and then I'm going to go ahead and melt it. And tilt it back and forth a little bit. Make sure it's all shiny and not matte. And there we go. We got our Alabaster Sparkle zebra. Okay, so I'm just letting it sit for a second, kind of cool off just a little bit. I actually have a fan going here. Put the fan on it for a second, because then I'm going to go ahead and just wipe around it and wipe off any powder that's still there from the anti-static powder tool. Or if I had some extra powder that it didn't. So there we go. I like that. And I think we're going to do it right there. Hi Tina, your favorite is the giraffe. I like giraffes too, but I am very partial to pandas. I always have been since I was a little girl. It's actually my sorority's animal. Not that I chose the sorority for the animal, but pandas are my favorite. My mama made me got me a panda birthday cake when I was in 2nd grade. You know, it sat up tall and was decorated with frosting and stuff, so it was sitting up like a teddy bear would sit up. But giraffes are pretty cool. I don't know if it's been a long time since I've seen a giraffe. But yeah, I like zebras too. All right, so we've got this. I think we need some bling. And then we'll move on to the other card I had an idea for. Just looking for my little trays. Here they are. My desk is just a mess. I'm furiously doing some other projects. This is the Jewels mix, the Naturals. I have a couple different ones here. I think we're going to actually switch to the other ones. You did, Mom. Yeah, you don't remember? It was at our first house in Sandstone. There was a big cake and a little cake. I have a picture of us all standing around because I remember Tracy Harper standing there, Carmen's in there, and we're standing around the table. And there was a big cake. It was, you know, from the top of my desk to up to here. So, and it was about that long. And then there was a little bit cake, and it was like star tipped all the way around. I don't know who made them for you, but I do remember it. It's like the only birthday cake I remember. And I'm not saying I never had one, but I remember that. You're not that old, Mom. I'll have to find the picture out and send once on one of these days, and I'll email it to you because it was just funny. Just when I remember. So we're gonna go ahead and add some bling. We're gonna add a few up here. I got 2 up there. Probably Ruth. Oh, that might be. I don't see. That was when we first moved there, so I really don't remember. There we go. We got 6 little dots. When I add my bling, I don't necessarily think too much about it. I just try to, if there's multiple sizes, try to make sure I use, like this one has 3 different sizes, that they're not all the same. Another small one there. We'll put the medium there, and we'll grab a big one down here. And I think that will do it for our card, or our card panel for right now. So live your wildest dreams. I love it. So use the black pearl chroma glaze on this. Just a very simple, clean card. I think that's really fun. So let's go ahead and, of course, my favorite, Mini Slim. What I like to do with Mini Slim cards, grab a piece of pattern paper, 6 by 6, right? Cut it down in half. So now I have 2 cards ready to go, and I could flop it over. Especially sometimes when you can add, you know, like let's say for example this was like a solid of this with like I could put that on top. These are a little bit too different for me, so I'm not going to put them on the same card, but I can get 2 cards like this. So I need a card panel. Mini Slims are still a card panel that I cut myself, or card bases that I cut of my own. Slimline and the A2, I've been buying the pre-cut from Brutus Monroe because they just are awesome and save time, and they're folded and scored and all that stuff. So 3 1/4. Just gonna cut one down. We don't need to make both of them. By 6 1/4. And I just have a paper tape that kind of extends mine. It might be a little bit more than 6 1/4, but then I just cut it down. Oh, see, look, that just fell off. I just lost a piece of there it is. I need to get this fixed. I just broke my paper trimmer. I feel like I'm missing a washer because this happened a while ago, and now it doesn't stay put together all the time. So I need to figure that out. All right, we'll worry about that later. Okay. So I've got my 6 1/4 by 3 1/4 panel, and I've got this. So I can do it just like this. There's a lot of white. I could also mat it on black. I think I'm going to leave it with the white. I like that. We're going to make a very quick, fast card like this, because this is a fun, favorite way for me I think, to make cards. And actually, we may make 2 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down, and I have done multiple things with this. I have used a stencil over the top with a very light colored chroma glaze or glitter glaze, if it's a very busy pattern, to add some interest, you know, when you go like this. I have ink blended it. I've done some aqua pigments. You can do all sorts of stuff just to the background, but this one I'm going to leave alone. And same with this one. I'm going to cut a second panel down though. It is pretty paper, Mom. We have the best paper. I saw this paper pad and I was kind of like, oh, I don't want to cut it up. I don't want to make cards with it. But that's what I always say. And I'm trying to get better about making cards. So, all right. Got that cut down. So we're going to go ahead and start our bases the same way, but we're going to make 2 kind of different cards. We're going to use one with die cuts, and then we'll use one with an image and a stamps and a sentiments. because this is a very quick way that you can make a bunch of cards using the inspiration box. So cut down your pattern papers that you like, because they all go together, right? And then, so I've got two, and they can, like I said, we can do them both one way or the other. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the Christopher Sentiments stamp set. This one. I believe it's still available, but you can also just grab any sentiment that you like in your stash, if it isn't, or if you have. And this one, what I like is, the big thing I want is, you want one that has a shadow. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a Celebrate one, because this will work for our challenge as a graduation card. Let's see, there's some pattern paper here. There's just some white paper. I'm gonna cut that down. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the mat out of white so that it matches our card base, or in my case a panel, but a card base. So to mat this on a card base, it would be on a white card base. We're gonna cut this out. And then we have multiple ways of deciding what color to cut the Celebrate out. You could do it out of glitter paper, like glitter stock, for a big fun, which we might do if I can find it. You could do it out of a metallic paper. You could do it out of white. To be honest with you, we could do it out of white paper and heat emboss it. This would take a little while for us tonight to do this, and like if you did the Raven detail ink, do it a couple times and make it very glossy. But we've got that, so we're gonna put that down. So then, but we could also do this pink. I'm leaning towards, I have some gold, that gold glitter paper that I have, or gold stock that I have, because there's a lot of gold and I think it would be fun to just add that. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Let me grab my scrap of that. I don't know if this is big enough. Okay. You could grab some gilded embossing powder, and you could do it before you cut it out, die cut it out, and put it on paper and then die cut it out, or you could actually do the letters. I prefer to die cut my letters out and then put embossing powder on them, and I have to get new plates, so I have to check and make sure it cut all the way. Hello Lori, how are you? I like to do that with the embossing powder on the letters and then heat emboss, and I like to do my letters like 2 or 3 times. That gives them kind of a shellac look. I will get some ready for us to do that in one of my next lives and have them done ahead of time so that you can see that, because you don't want to sit here and watch me heat emboss. So we've got these letters. My dog is stuck. I bet you he's stuck. You know, it's funny, and my dog, he gets stuck on our chive plant. Now, that chive plant has been there for only a year. I just got it last year. That was before I had a dog, so of course it's in the spot where when he's out running around he can get caught in it. But he'll get wrapped around just a little bit. All I do is yank his cord and he's loose, but he freaks out thinking that he's like, he's dying because he's stuck on the chive plant. So I think it's funny. How are you today, Lori? All right, let's get this glued down. So what I'm gonna do for this is I'm just gonna grab, I just have some old glue bottles. Oh, I don't even know if I want one that's open, that I just filled with some extra glue. I'm gonna go ahead and put, whoa, that one must be over thing. I haven't been using them, so I'm gonna go ahead and this is just some Barely Art glue that I filled up with old things, with old glue tubes, because I have the big thing of that. That's amazing. I'm glad you're having a great day. It's been pretty good here. It was a not super busy day at work. I mean, I had stuff going on, but they went by just well. And I was telling people earlier, I got my airline tickets for Create Your Own Ending, so I'm super excited about that, and I saved myself some money, which is awesome because then that just means more for me to spend when I come, right? And then I like to use liquid glue because then I can move it around a little bit. And I'm just dipping the edges in this. This is a trick. I don't know if I've seen, if Jennifer McGuire did it or somebody else did it, but they just kind of tap the glue on there. I don't mind getting glue on my fingers. I try to use my pointer finger so that I always make sure that when I'm doing this, we're just making a quick, fast card. This is how you can you take our paper pads and make some fast cards. You wouldn't need any stamping, just some die cutting. This is one way you could do this. I'm going to do the E while it's already out. I hope we've had good weather where you're at too, Lori. It's been good weather here. Warmer, but good weather. It's been super bright. I was telling everyone at the beginning we might have to go short. I've got a little bit of a headache, and it's only because it's been so bright. And I face our local gas station at work, and so, you know, it's in the mornings. There's lots of vehicles coming and going, and it's a white building, so sometimes the sun shines off of it. Since I face the west, yes. So, and see, that's perfect. It is in the upper 70s, low 80s here, so it's just on the high end for me. But it's nice. We thought for sure we'd have to shut the windows today, but we've had the windows open all day. But oh, thanks, Mackie. Yeah, I love this paper too. I'm trying to get better at each month using more. This is the Christopher Sentiments. I think they're still available in the store. Last I saw they were. I apologize if they're not. And then I will put myself in the corner if they're not, because I shouldn't be using them. But this is one of my favorite die sets. It's like Christopher's handwriting, and then it's got this. So it's very fun to make quick, fast cards. And you need to get a add-on set for it. But has some other words. Okay, so we got the Celebrate. And now this is kind of fun. I could have saved the centers for those, and I could have just used this on top of this card too. That is a fun card too, if I'd cut it straight. And that is actually fun. I might save this, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Sorry, I put my glue pin in my mouth. I pulled it out with my teeth here quick since I'm holding something. I saw a couple of the projects you uploaded to our design team group, Mackie. They were beautiful. I haven't had a chance to play with it yet. That's my goal this weekend, so I'm excited. All right, now this would be also a fun sentiment to do multiple layers of, so that it pops up a lot. But I'm going to do the one layer. And I'm going to leave this the way it is. Yes, it is so versatile. I am going to leave this just the way it is. And the reason I say that is because this Celebrate card technically fits the challenge, because you could celebrate for graduation. And the reason I say that is that I can put a sub-sentiment on here, go through my stash and find tiny little sentiments that say something like your birthday or your graduation or whatever, your day, anything you want, and add a little sub-sentiment on white cardstock right here. And maybe heat emboss it with gold. But now I have a card in my stash that's easy to put on, you know, and use for something. I can just use it just like this too, and I can put a sentiment on the inside. So that is one way to do a very quick and fast card using patterned paper, especially 6x6. Obviously 12x12 can be cut down to 6x6, or you can get more. So that is the first one. And then the second one, we've got this one. I think we'll go ahead and use one of the stamp sets. I think this one's a little too big, but you could use this and stamp it out and just do part of a sentiment, which would be very, very fun. But I think what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go ahead. I have not used these elephants yet. And I want to do the either I won't forget your birthday or ears to you or huge hugs sentiment. So we're going to use, actually I use this elephant. I did use this elephant on a project, but I'm going to use this big one right here. We're going to go ahead and once again stamp him out. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp him on black with gold. Actually, yes, I'm going to stamp him on black with gold. Oop. So I need to grab some black cardstock. And I think I'm going to go ahead and just use this piece again. I might not even use the whole elephant. Yes, it would be. That would be great over the grad. Yes, yes, it was. And I believe it's also available now in the store if you weren't able to get it with the freebie weekend. I have that stencil right. This one. Mackie made a great card with this stencil. I haven't used it yet, obviously. I may have to tonight because my honey asked me for a graduation card and I couldn't find the ones that I still had left over from when I made them in the past. And the elephants are so fun, Mackie, or just the stamp set in general? I think both. That's probably what you mean, right? So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to stamp that out in some embossing ink. I think sometimes it's fun to be able to, sorry if I get really loud, I stood up, I'm sweating a little bit on my leather chair here. I'm going to go ahead and stamp that out on black. We're going to grab our gilded because we've got the gold again, once again. And this is another one where you could use white and you could use a pink embossing powder, a blue, a purpley blue, or a mauve color, I guess that would be. Or if you have an ink, that color, you could stamp in that color and then use, if it's not a pigment ink, you could use embossing ink over it and then heat emboss clear. I didn't quite get on the elephant's backside, looks like there, but we can make it work. Okay, we'll heat emboss this. I think the nice thing about graduation cards is that you can go with so many ideas because it doesn't have to just be congratulations. It can't be it doesn't have to be class of. You can do the adventure awaits you or spread your wings and fly or just all sorts of things. And everyone has such different tastes. And even with this set, if you've got, you know, the die set that's the lion, you know, if you're I couldn't think of the word. If the school mascot is a lion, you could cut that down, you know, or with the spots, you know, you could use that as a background to make a fun in the school color sign. So we've got this. We're going to let it cool down for just a minute. We're going to get a circle die and we're going to cut it out. I'm going to cut it down a little bit so it fits in my die cut machine. I'm still going to save this because this still could be a mat for something. All right, so let's grab our circle dies. Once again, I think we're just going to go ahead and cut part of him off here. I think this one might be a little... You know, I think I changed my mind. I think I'm going to fussy cut him. You could do a circle, totally circle, but I think I'm just going to quick fussy cut him, if that's okay. If you guys don't mind me fussy cutting. And I'm not the best fussy cutter, and I don't do it the right way, but I do it my way, which is just to do the best I can. And I think it looks as good as it can. I think it can be. It's just paper after all. I'm not perfect, right? This is not my favorite thing to do. but I'm getting better at it. A couple of my favorite crafters fussy cut all the time, so I'm channeling them, my inner crafty friends. So, and that little spot that I missed on his backside with embossing ink, we can put our sentiment there and cover that up, or I can put a gem there. We can make that work. All right. I'm loving how this is turning out. Completely different idea than what I had earlier today, but I think it works. And this is, like I said, I took this cardstock, a scrap cardstock. It's just a generic black. It is heavier weight than I usually use for something like this. So it's just some I've had in my stash for a long time for like card bases and mats, and I don't make a lot of black cards anymore. I've decided to matte them on black and then put them on white, because then I don't have to worry about gel pen writing. I tend to smear when I use something like that, or you know, if I have to put another piece of white cardstock on the inside to write my message on, I might as well just put it on a white card base. So I've started using all my the little bit of black cardstock I have left to make for mats and things like this. So there we go. That wasn't too bad. Excuse me a second. Gloria, you're welcome. I kind of play with things around. I've been crafting a long time in general, and I've got to the point where, you know, to be honest, the thing is I know we all as crafters are our worst critics. And over the last few years, as I've watched many YouTube videos from other crafters, or lives, or seen projects designed by and, you know, posted on social media, and every once in a while you catch the tiniest little flaw that I'm like, that would drive me nuts if I had it, because I would be like, it's not perfect. But I'm like, wait, none of us are perfect, so you know, it's okay. It's homemade, it's part of it, you know. No, Mackie, I don't like fussy cut. Now this would be fun to actually, you could use some gilded and like gilded aqua pigment, but I want to leave it just as it is. I'm gonna go ahead and put this down. I think we're gonna flip this upside down though, because I don't want to put them right on that black. And then we need some white to pull in here. So we can do this, but I feel like that's a lot of white. That takes away from our... So we can do this. We could have done a circle. I think I have some circles that are already cut out. Got this little circle that we just used, that we just cut. That would be nice, just to add a little bit of extra color beneath him to stand out. But we need to get our sentiment on it first. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do the ears to you, because, like I said, another graduation card. But I'm going to do something that if you don't do, look away if you don't like this, but this is, I don't mind doing this. I'm going to cut my stamp. Okay. Let's see, how do I want it? Ears to you. I'm cutting it right between the S and the T, because I'm not doing any more, because I can always stick it right back together. They'll match right back up in my Misty. See? They're already stuck back together. But now I can have a sentiment that goes in the spot that I want. The first time I did it, it freaked me out. I was like, oh my gosh, I cut a stamp. But now it don't bother me so much, because I can use them more. And I can put them where I want. I don't have to mask. So we're going to go ahead and stamp this. I'm going to put this in my Misty. I'll move up just a minute. We got to use this for placement. We're going to do just kind of like that. I think. We got to see if that's enough room. Ears. Oh, we got to move them over just a little bit. Here's to you. Okay, that'll work. We can take this guy out. All right. Excuse my head for just a second. See if I can make it as straight as possible. It is on a circle, but I want my sentiments to be at least as close as possible. Okay, so I got the two of you. I'm just going to take the ears and center it right on there. And then we're going to, I think we're going to stamp this down in the same thing. We're going to embossing ink. I could do the black, but I think I want to do gold. So I need to do a little anti-static powder, a little embossing ink. Yeah, fussy cutting is not my favorite, but you know what's funny, Mackie, is I do have a scan and cut, and I do use it, but I think I don't know if I have an update, if I need a new mat. Every once in a while, it cuts wrong, and so it cuts really, really well on like on 3 of the 4 sides of something, and then it cuts really close on the other. So what I've been doing, if you can believe this, is taking my stamps that have been on my scan and cut and fussy cutting them down. But it's been easier to fussy cut them down. I cut them down to the white line then, but I use what they already have there. All right. Go ahead and quick heat set this. My U didn't quite get all the way down. Might have to redo this one. I think I set that a little too fast, a little too hard, so it's not quite as shiny as it should be, but it'll work. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna try to get these all together. I gotta fix this a little bit. Here's to you. All right, let's get some glue down first. Okay, so I got some glue down on there first. We're gonna line this up the way I want it on here. And then I'm gonna flip it back over. We'll add some glue to the back. Try not to make my circle move at all. We'll go ahead and put this down and we'll add some bling. It'll be good. So I want to do that now. Nope, I still don't like that because that black is right there with it. And I want a little bit extra space. I'm going to turn it a little bit so my sentiment. It's not quite, let's see. I didn't quite get it straight, but it's already stuck down, so it's gonna have to be where it is. That's okay. He's a walking elephant. Grab a acrylic block, just set down on there, let it dry, and we'll add some bling. And there we go. And then almost call it a night. All right, I'm gonna have to put a little bit more pressure on that, but we wanna add a little bit of bling. I'm gonna do, I think we'll do some of the gold this time. Actually, I think I'll do some more of the black. We'll just do more of that black, same black. I already have them out. And we'll go ahead and I'm gonna add a couple here, and like I said, I'm gonna add a couple on the elephant. I don't know if that's my dog barking or is that up the street? Sounds like it's up the street, but it might be mine. He might be in the garage. He's barking like crazy. I'm gonna try to add, I got a big one, a little one on the corner here by this. I'm gonna try to add all the medium-sized ones right to his back here. I actually really like how that looks. And yeah, there's a little bit extra glue on the side of that one. So what I do is I just push my towel down inside of it. That sometimes will seep that up. Oh, I just knocked my gems everywhere. That's fine. Clean those up. There we go. So, I appreciate y'all joining me tonight. to make a few cards using the Safari release. We used a bunch of the add-on sets tonight, and or used the add-on set tonight, and the paper pad, and the inspiration box stamp, and some of the stencils. Move those over before I skim them again. We've got 3 cards here. Ooh, I set my stuff right down on my wet panel earlier. Well, that's no fun. So learn from me. Make sure you know where you put your wet panel. I wasn't paying attention. Alright, let's find our other card panels here. Where did I put them? We've got those 2, and there's my 3rd. Get this out of the way here so that you can see them. We used our card panels or paper pattern paper to cut down to make 2 mini slimline cards, and we used a stencil and some chroma glaze to make this one. I am so glad you're here. I hope you enjoyed this and you learned something about what you can do to make some quick, fast cards, especially using the pattern paper. I appreciate you. Don't forget to participate in the challenge. Brutus Moreau Fan Club. It's a graduation project. Hashtag CYOE challenge. You have until Tuesday to enter that. And create your own ending is you only have a few days left to sign up for that. So I appreciate you. You guys have a great night. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Have a great night, and I will see you guys next week. Okay? Have a great rest of your week.